Welcome to the Explainer. Today, we're jumping straight into a really fascinating piece of the AI governance puzzle, the role of the ISO/IEC 22001-2023 Lead Auditor. If you've been working with management systems, you already know the standard is a total game changer. But let's be real, the standard is literally only as good as the people actually verifying it on the ground. So we're going to unpack what it actually means to be the person steering that ship. Which brings us to a big question. What actually makes an ISO/IEC 42001 audit truly effective? I mean, it's so tempting to just picture auditing as this rigid checklist, right? Someone with a clipboard hovering over your shoulder just waiting to catch a mistake. But an effective audit, it is absolutely not a penalty exercise. It's a strategic advantage that actually drives your continuous improvement. And the person who flips that script, turning that checklist into a massive advantage, is the lead auditor.
So, by definition, the lead auditor is the primary individual responsible for managing and conducting an audit according to ISO/IEC 42001 principles. But the absolute key here is the second part of that definition, ensuring the audit aligns with core organizational objectives like risk management and business continuity. They aren't just rule enforcers. Actually, scratch that. They're more like expert navigators. They're the protectors of your organization's resilience, making sure the AI management system is genuinely serving your broader mission.
To really get a handle on this role, we're going to walk through the audit lifecycle chronologically. We'll hit the lead auditor's mission, planning the audit, conducting the audit, managing teams, reporting findings, and finally documenting roles. Okay, jumping right into Section 1, the lead auditor's mission, where we'll look at aligning compliance with your overarching business strategy. There is such a stark contrast between the old-school way of auditing and this modern ISO standard. On one hand, you've got the old approach, right? Just checking boxes and finding isolated little faults. But on the other hand, the true mission of an ISO/ISC 42001 lead auditor is to tightly align the whole system with risk management, legal compliance, and business continuity. It's a huge shift. This strategic alignment is exactly why top management absolutely needs to be engaged here. The lead auditor isn't just looking at paperwork. They're evaluating whether your AI management system is actively mitigating real-world risks. Which naturally leads us to Section 2, planning the audit, focusing on setting the foundation. Literally before a single piece of evidence is even looked at, the lead auditor has to act as the master architect. It's like building a house, and there are 4 critical steps here. First, define the scope and objectives so you know exactly what parts of the system are under the microscope. Second, prepare a highly detailed audit plan. We're talking strict timelines and resources. Third, select your audit team, making sure you have the exact competencies you need. And fourth, communicate with the organization to get all stakeholders on the same page. Because, if this foundational planning isn't rock solid, the whole audit is going to crumble. All right, so the foundation is set. Now we move into Section 3, conducting the audit. This is where we gather verifiable evidence. This is the boots-on-the-ground execution phase. To get to the truth, the lead auditor has to stay completely objective while using a bunch of different methods to collect factual, independent evidence. They pull document reviews, looking at policies, incident logs, training records. But documents only tell part of the story, right? So they also do interviews across the company to see if employees actually understand what's going on. They do direct observations to see the real-time performance. They even pull hard data straight from automated monitoring systems. It's this whole multi-layered approach to make sure literally nothing slips through the cracks. And the source material actually sets an incredibly high bar for this. It explicitly states, the lead auditor must ensure that evidence is gathered in accordance with ISO/IEC 42001-2023 requirements, ensuring that it is verifiable, accurate, and relevant. So what does that mean for us? It means you can't just base things on assumptions or hearsay. No way. If a finding isn't highly verifiable and strictly relevant to the specific AI objectives of the audit, it just gets thrown out. It simply cannot be used to form conclusions. Let's shift gears a bit to Section 4, managing teams, where we focus on guiding the audit experts. Because the lead auditor definitely doesn't do this alone. They're managing the human element here. They're the team navigator. Their responsibilities include providing strong leadership and guidance, answering questions, and keeping everybody focused on the goal. They also have to constantly ensure their team has the right competence for the specific AI systems they're looking at. Plus, they're coordinating all the activities, juggling workloads, scheduling site visits, the whole shebang. And, super importantly, they provide constructive feedback throughout the entire process, so the audit team is always getting better.
Once the audit is done, we hit Section 5, Reporting Findings, which is all about translating those findings into action.
A lot of people think reporting is just handing over a massive PDF at the end of the month and walking away. It's really not. It's a continuous timeline. It starts on day 1, rigorously documenting evidence the second it's found. By week 1, they're preparing a comprehensive report detailing the methodology and any non-compliance issues. Week 2, they're presenting directly to senior management, explaining the actual business impact of those risks. But the really crucial part is that it's ongoing. They track corrective actions. Finding a problem is literally just the start of the plan, do, check, act cycle. The auditor follows up over time to ensure root causes are actually fixed. And finally, we reach Section 6, Documenting Roles, focusing on tracing accountability throughout the organization. At the end of the day, accountability has to build from the top down. Documenting specific roles is the absolute linchpin for tracing this in any ISO/IEC 42001 system. Think about how this breaks down. Top management, they are accountable for establishing policy and providing the actual resources. Then you have roles like the security or energy manager. These folks are uniquely accountable for actual system performance and tracking those objectives. Meanwhile, the internal auditor is there conducting periodic, objective checks without any conflicts of interest. When the lead auditor comes in, this clear, documented chain of command is exactly what they are looking for. Because here is the harsh reality. Without documented roles, identifying gaps in responsibility and maintaining consistent performance becomes basically impossible. It's a mess. If roles aren't thoroughly documented, you just get overlapping confusion. It's that classic problem where if everyone is supposedly responsible, well then, no one is actually accountable. The lead auditor relies heavily on this documentation to verify that your organization isn't just surviving on good intentions, but is actually operating on a solid, auditable framework. So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with something to really chew on. How robust is your own organizational role documentation and internal auditing practice? Seriously, if a lead auditor walked into your office tomorrow morning, would they find a strategic, tightly aligned AI system with clear accountability? Or would they just find a bunch of undocumented gaps and isolated fault finding? It's a vital question to ask yourself as we all navigate this standard. Thank you so much for joining me to explore this today. Keep learning, keep improving, and we'll catch you in the next one.